In the early hours of September 15, 1916, outside a village in the Delville Wood area of France, three strange-looking steel beasts approached the German positions in the night. These three beasts are the secret weapon developed by Britain: the tank. The original English meaning of tank is the container of water. British in the development of this secret weapon, the project gave the code name tank, but the word tank, from then on has another meaning, became the name of armored fighting vehicles. The First World War, which broke out in 1914, was special. Before that, Europe had experienced decades of peace. In previous wars, armies relied on the numerical superiority of infantry, artillery support, and the encirclement of cavalry to win victories. However, in these decades, technological advances have changed the pattern of warfare, with the emergence of machine guns, wire nets, and rapid-fire artillery, turning simple human sea attacks into huge casualties, and making it difficult for cavalry to ride the battlefield. In the face of the powerful firepower, the soldiers could only hide in the trenches, shooting at each other. To break this deadlock, some people in Britain used the concept of naval ironclads on land. If we could build ironclads cruisers that roamed on land, wouldn't they dominate the battlefield? So, the tank was born. The tank attack in the Davy Wood area was the first time that tanks were on the stage of history. The three British tanks were struggling to move forward on a battlefield full of craters and tree trunks, and it wasn't long before two of them broke down, and only one tank, nicknamed Daredevil, came to the front of the German line. The roar of the tank had already alerted the defending German soldiers, who fired at the hazy tank figure in the morning sunlight from behind the trenches. From the Daredevil's observation window, the German trench flashed with continuous fire. The commander of the Daredevil tank ordered the gunner to return fire, so the gunner fired the first shot in the tank's history from the tank's 6-pounder. The sound of the cannon announced to the world, "I was coming." From this moment on, the war entered a new phase. David Wood's tanks did not go well, and the Daredevils had to withdraw from the battle, because they broke down soon after the battle with the Germans. Fortunately, the British infantry that followed them were able to capture the villages. The attack was a prelude to a larger plan of action: the Flers-Courcellets offensive of the Somme, in which 200,000 British troops attacked along an 11-kilometer front, with 49 Mark I tanks. The Mark I tanks, which weighed 31.4 tons, and had armor up to 12 millimeters, was armed with 2 6-pounders and 3 Hotchkiss machine guns. However, some of the Mark I tanks were not equipped with guns, but only 4 Vickers machine guns and 1 Hotchkiss machine gun. The British called the tanks with guns male tanks, and those without guns female tanks. The attack began with 49 tanks advancing toward the German positions. The unoccupied area between the two positions was filled with craters and rubble, and as rugged as the surface of the moon. The terrain was much harsher than the British test site, and the British tanks kept falling over during the advance, either because of mechanical failure or because they were stuck in deep craters and could not climb out. In the end, only one tank made it through the roughest part of the terrain to the German position. This tank, nicknamed Vampire, got its first result, an artillery observation balloon over the German position. With 3 shots, the tank gunner scored the first tank harvest in history. The Germans defending the line were dumbfounded by the sight of this unprecedented monster. Many of the soldiers from the German villages had never even seen a car before joining the army, let alone this huge monster with its loud booms, black smoke, and fire breathing. At the urging of the officers, The German soldiers began firing at the tanks, rifles and machine guns blazing. Bullets thudded against the tank but did no harm to it, and the steel monster continued to advance slowly, but surely. The German soldiers finally collapsed in the face of this fearless beast, many of them screaming, "Run! This monster can't be killed, it will crush us all to a pulp." The German soldiers fled from the line and ran backward. The vampires pushed through the German lines and came to the village of Flers. There were still German machine gun nests in the village, trying to fire at the tank, but they were soon destroyed one by the tank gunners, and the Germans were completely demoralized and fled from their hideouts. The tank gunners also machine gunned the Germans who were trying to escape from the village. Finally, the Mark I tank stopped at the main road of Flers and turned around, like a lion, to look at the village that it dominated. Not far behind it were countless British infantry running towards it, cheering. In the next episode, I will continue the story of tanks in World War I, the first tank blitz in history, and the first massive tank cluster attack. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.